I feel like everybody gives Drake all of these different achievements when it comes to his making hits, and I think Kendrick is a better song maker and a better songwriter than Drake. You know, obviously he's a better songwriter than Drake, but I also believe he's a better song maker than Drake too. I think a lot of people uh, look at Drake hits and say, well, he's a better song maker. But all right, man. Torture Talk after hours. You know what it is. So we're gonna do this. Kendrick Lamar has did an interview, and we're gonna watch this brand new interview together. So while I get into that, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Let's get it going.
All right, my life is in your hands.
Scared, man. I told you I got you, bro. You got movies to film.
Yeah, exactly.
Put your seatbelt on. Your seatbelt on?
Yeah, let me get it on. Hold up.
Mine's on, by the way. Don't be fooled.
Oh, it is on. Oh, I didn't see. All right.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, people are gonna be saying I look soft. All right, got you. All right.
Oh man, people are gonna have a problem with that. He ain't wearing his seatbelt right. He took it off and put it behind him, bro. This ain't right. I'm telling you, he's preaching wrong to the children, man. I can't believe that he would do this. Watch, I'm telling you now. Kendrick Lamar is getting criticism because he put a seatbelt on and he moved it out the way. That is illegal. He can't do that. Like, bro, I'm telling you. You're going to see Drake fans. It's going to be headlines all over the place. It's going to be headlines everywhere about that. That's crazy.
Let's do your It's been a while. You know, you might come off with a little bit of writer's block. So we always got this thing about, like, keeping the pen low. So this exercise, going there, doing 16 bars, going home, you know, always just keep moving. How I feel if it's been a while for you.
Yeah.
Take a minute for you warm up in front of the camera, take a minute to remember the lines, get into the character. How long what's that process?
Yeah, all the above. You know, I try to prep at home, but the thing about acting is if you don't have an audience, it's just a form of insanity. You know, then you're just, what are you doing? You know, so.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. He said that. I always liked acting. I would say I kind of like dibble and dabble into acting a little bit, but I wouldn't say that I'm an actor. But I would say I can, if I wanted to be, I could be. I ain't gonna lie. I have a very good sense of acting. I probably could be a great actor if I wanted to. I think my problem just remembering the lines. Yeah, I mean, saying it is not a problem, but just remembering all that stuff. That's why I commend actors for doing what they do. Now, as far as what Kendrick said about his pen, I understand exactly what he's talking about, because a lot of times you might think something is good to you if you write something down. If you write something, you might think it's good to you. But then when you let somebody else hear it and they not impressed, you be like, oh man, I gotta do it over. That's because you probably got a little bit of writer's block or pen rust or whatever they want to call it. And I think that if you are constantly doing something over and over again, your brain is like a muscle, and you will get better at it. You know what I'm saying? You'll get better at it.
I'll definitely try to warm up and then, you know, lose that self-consciousness when you finally get back out there.
Yeah.
But that takes time. You know, I always try to embrace failure. You were talking about that the other day, you know, that the most important part of a bad day is like the way you leave it. And if you could leave a bad take or a bad day with a positive attitude, then you got nothing to fear, you know?
I think that's probably one of the biggest misconceptions about me as an artist. I'm always locked in and I'm always trying new things. Whether or not I like them is a whole nother conversation, but I have to keep the pen moving. You know, it's my form of sanity. And it's also...
Yeah, I think that's very important that what he just said. A lot of people do things as a coping mechanism. So, for example, some people are writers and they continuously have to put their thoughts out there because they don't want to hold them in, because that is kind of, they feel like it would drive them insane if they don't. You know what I mean? So some people, they definitely put it out there that they gotta they have to put their work out there. You know what I'm saying? Like I would say I like a lot of good writers, modern writers. I would say not the older ones, but modern writers. A lot of the modern writers, I do feel like they have to put their thoughts on paper. So
Which also has given me the opportunity to learn myself. You know, find out who I am.
You mean through the styles of expression or the actual lyricism or everything?
I mean, because when we write, man, you gotta sit and go through the emotions and be vulnerable about it. You know, whether it's a fun song or sad or, you know, got some type of depth or not. These are still relatively your personality, you know.
and this is what I was saying before about how I feel like I don't think Kendrick Lamar really wanted to destroy Drake. I think he wanted to. I think he wanted it to be a friendly battle between him and Drake, but I think that Drake took it to the next level, and I think Kendrick had to respond in that manner. But as far as him sitting in the studio and he's going through the motions, I understand exactly what you're talking about. Because when I was younger, we used to sit in the studio, and one of my cousins, he was like, he was never impressed by nothing. Anything you could do the best song ever, and he'll always nitpick and find something wrong with it. And to be honest with you, that kind of makes people discouraged and wanting to do things. You know what I'm saying? Like you want people to give their best work every time they do it, but sometimes you have to build up to that. Some people can't give you their best effort at first. You know what I'm saying? They have to build up to it, especially when they come to making music. Cause you just don't be good overnight. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to build up to that.
Pushing through. And so a lot of these records are right, some type of depth or not. These are still relatively your personality, you know, pushing through. And so a lot of these records are right, man. A lot of stuff I probably would never express or even known about myself if it wasn't for an instrumental behind it. With my projects, it always be that one record I feel like that I want everyone to hear, you know what I'm saying? In order to push the narrative or just the message and the tone that I want to get across. I can have so many other records that have different narratives and tones, you know, like Reflection, right? To preserve a space for that one that I want everyone to hear, that's what That's what pushes me, man. That's why I like The Man at the Garden, and even the fact that it's at the top of the record.
Yeah, I understand exactly what he's saying here. So, Man in the Garden is one of those songs and he's saying that he basically deserves everything that he did. I think that is a how would I say this? That is a rebuttal to everybody that thinks that he's not worthy of having all these things. And he's saying like all the work I put in, I deserve it all. So I understand exactly what he's talking about when he said that he want everybody to hear that, because that's a song that you want everybody to hear, because if you feel like you deserve everything, then everybody's supposed to hear that. Like, I don't understand why people don't understand that. And I think that another reason why he put that song out there is because I feel like everybody gives Drake all of these different achievements when it comes to his making hits. And I think Kendrick is a better song maker and a better songwriter than Drake. You know, obviously he's a better songwriter than Drake, but I also believe he's a better song maker than Drake too. I think a lot of people look at Drake hits and say, well, he's a better song. But a lot of times, to me, songs ain't about what you can come across for the whole masses to listen to. I don't look at it like that. I think somebody, if you can do a song that's still you and the masses like, then I think that would be it. I think that's a better song maker in my opinion.
Yeah, that's how it felt like to me. You know, also just being a fan of interested.
That's what pushes me, man. That's why I like The Man at the Garden, and even the fact that it's at the top of the record.
Yeah, that's how it felt like to me. You know, also just being a fan of her music forever and knowing like look at where you're at now, man. Like, it's this crazy Super Bowl halftime show. And you just keep climbing, bro. It's like amazing.
Appreciate it, man. I mean that, bro. Yeah. Man in the Garden, I mean every word on that motherfucker, man. That's probably the easiest record to write. You know? And I figured out who I am in this present moment, you know?
Yeah, man. That was a pretty interesting interview. I'm sure that there's going to be another part to it. That's probably just part one. So, I'm going to be checking. But like he said, if Man at the Garden defines Kendrick Lamar right now, then we know exactly what to expect from him. We all know what to expect. If that's what he's saying. If he's saying that Man at the Garden is what he believes in today, he believes he deserves it all. And I'll be honest with y'all. I think he do as well, because look at all the work he put in. Like, this guy has about 4 or 5 classic albums. He has 5. I'm going to say 5 classics. He has 5 classics. I will go on record and say all Kendrick albums are classic. Every one of them. Every one of his albums are classic. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. Every one of his albums are classic. So he put in a lot of work, man. A lot of work. And I think a lot of people don't give him the just due that he deserves. I don't think they do. I think people talk about it, but they don't put him on, like, all right, so for example, they'll talk about Drake hits, but they won't say, like, they'll say Drake's the GOAT, and they'll go off of his hits. But they won't never bring up the song content. Like, oh, well, like, it's like people are like, they look at certain things from a lens of it just being what it is. You know what I mean? So let's say Drake has 5 number 1 hits, and you don't care about what he's saying. It's just the fact that they're hits. And you look at it like, well, if everybody likes it, it must be good. That's how they look at it. With Kendrick, it's different, because now he has all the awards, which means his songs are getting listened to by people who doesn't necessarily listen to the radio or listen to just popular songs. He's getting awards for these songs. So it's like, I think that that's the reason why Kendrick is just such a better artist. But the argument always becomes, well, if Drake has 13 number 1 hits and Kendrick has 22 Grammys, I mean, who's more important to music? You know what I'm saying? And I look at it from the point of view, I'm going to go with the Grammy guy. Because the Grammy guy, to me, the Grammys, even though, like, for some things, people, I would say some people don't deserve it, but others, they have too many artists that were really good that got a Grammy. So that's why I look at the Grammys more than I would look at number 1 hits. Either way, man, thank y'all for joining me. I appreciate y'all, man. After hours over, you know what it is. See y'all. Peace. Bye.